I believe in supporting our law enforcement heroes. Law enforcement is a profession, not a race or culture. With or without the badge, these men and women are like any other human being. They are husbands, wives, sons, daughters, fathers, mothers, brothers, and sisters, and we need more support for them. There are many organizations, local and national, that help officers and their families in any way they need. Law enforcement is a unique lifestyle and often affects the whole family. I know this from my own experience. There's times when my stepdad does not come home from his shift until past midnight because he got called out. Not always being able to have him there for family events or holidays because he's on call. Only seeing him before he goes to bed, then having to leave again. It's hard, but it really makes me appreciate what he does. Due to them having long shifts and odd hours, it is often difficult for both parents to work outside the home. Having a stay-at-home parent is ideal in many police families, but it can be financially devastating if the officer is killed or injured in the line of duty. Officers sacrifice weekends and holidays with their families to keep their community safe. Law enforcement is considered an essential service, meaning it requires a certain number of officers who must be on duty at all times, including nights, weekends, and holidays. They miss birthdays, anniversaries, and Christmas year after year to keep everyone else safe. Police officers chose their profession, but they never know what they will be enduring next when answering a call. A simple situation could turn violent in a matter of seconds. A routine traffic stop can result in an officer fighting for his life, while another traffic stop could turn fatal. This is a hard profession, but officers wake up every day not knowing what could happen next and still go to work. I conducted interviews with officers and wives to get an inside understanding of what their lives as a law enforcement family were really like. What is similar and what was different to the average family, what motivates the officers to go to work every day, and then what are they like at home. I interviewed 4 officers from the Elkford Police Department. I asked Detective Willie Cook, what is the most rewarding part of your job, and this was his response. The most rewarding part of my job is the ability to right the wrong, dealing with the victim and helping solve the crime they were victimized. I asked Detective Mike Suki to describe himself as a person when he is not on duty. Off duty, I'm a volunteer firefighter, family man, I am a homebody. I like gardening projects, hunting, fishing, and going to my kids' sports and events. I interviewed Detective Todd Drina next. I asked him what was the most difficult part of the job, and his response was, dealing with some of the worst people and still treating them with how they want to be treated, even when they are not given the respect they should be. The last officer I interviewed was Sergeant Brian Bowes with what is your greatest accomplishment from being a law enforcement officer. He replied with being promoted to sergeant, and I saved a girl from the railroad tracks who was intending on hurting herself before the train came. The entirety of the interview can be found in another document. The officers' answers were generally similar. Work is work, home is home, and they can easily separate the two. I also interviewed 4 wives from back in the blue line. I asked Bonita Moore what makes her law enforcement officer human. She replied with family, his children, and doing the everyday things families do. Eating together, even if we have to go to the police department, I want to eat like a family. Going on walks together, snuggle movie nights together. Keep to being as normal as possible. The next question was, what is your biggest fear about them being on duty? Melissa Knobloch replies with not hearing the garage door open. That's how I know he made it home. The next person I interviewed was Andrea Wilson. I asked her what are you most proud of being in a law enforcement family? The selflessness they have going to work to protect the community, family, friends, each other, and keeping themselves. The entirety of the interview can be found on another document. The police wives' answers were also very similar, but unlike the officers, they are unable to separate their husband's job from their home life. They are always worried about the safety of their husbands and the future of their families. There are several nonprofit organizations, local and national, to help with law enforcement officers and their families to help in their time of need. Whether it's emotional support for the officer or financial support for their family, there is no organization to help them. The Law Enforcement Memorial Association, also known as LEMA, provides services to the families of law enforcement officers that have died in the line of duty. There is a public monument on the Capitol grounds in St. Paul, Minnesota, honoring the 277 fallen officers in the state of Minnesota. They manage and conduct services on National Law Enforcement Memorial Day, May 15th, at the Minnesota Law Enforcement Memorial Monument. Honor guards take 20-minute shift standing guard at the memorial to honor the fallen, along with the candlelight vigil. Lima assists the family by planning funeral arrangements that follow the family's wishes and those expressed by the fallen officer through paperwork filled out when hired by a department. The Lima Honor Guard also attends the funeral to stand guard over the fallen officer until they reach their final resting place. They provide counseling to the officers' family members after their death, financial support for the immediate needs of the family, and paid college tuition within Minnesota for the surviving children of that officer. Backing the Blue Line is another support group in Minnesota. They are a non-profit charitable organization and is composed entirely of police wives who are dedicated to law enforcement officers and their families. They are extremely active in their communities, promoting positive relationships with law enforcement and the community members. They offer support to injured and fallen officers and their families. Together, they want to bring a positive voice to represent the Thin Blue Line. Injured officer support fulfills any needs they may have, including financial help, transportation, lawn care, housekeeping, child care, meal service, snow removal, house repairs, and anything else the family may need to get through their traumatic times. Backing the Blue Line also provides the 2,000 hand-painted and hand-tied ribbons, memorial roses, to be distributed at the funerals of fallen officers at no cost to the family. They provide ongoing support for the family of the officer that died. Not only is Backing the Blue Line for the officers, but it is also a support group for the wife. Friends and family often do not understand the unique challenges law enforcement families face, so BTBL offers a safe, inclusive, understanding platform to connect with other wives going through the same situations. This is the only support group in Minnesota that provides support to the whole family and has become a staple in the law enforcement world. I volunteer as often as I can with this group because I am in a law enforcement family and like helping others who understand how hard this lifestyle is. Another group is the Minnesota Cops, the Minnesota chapter of Concerns of Police Survivors. Their chapter is about extending a helping hand for the emotional well-being of those who have endured the loss of a loved one, friend, or co-worker in the line of duty. They are survivors helping other survivors. 100% of the proceeds go to the families of officers killed in the line of duty, as well as assistance for families wishing to attend National Police Week ceremonies. Those are just 3 groups that help officers, but there are so many more. All these groups need support though because it is not an easy lifestyle. It affects the whole family, and with more support, it will show these officers are humans just like everyone else. A call for help can result in a hostage situation, a distracted driving complaint into a fatal car accident. And despite all the bad in their job, they still put their uniform on and go to work the next day for the good. The good found in solving a crime and helping a victim, reuniting a lost child with their parents, successfully performing CPR to help the person suffering from a heart attack, saving the life of a suicidal, providing for the family, and just doing the job they love. They have one goal out there into their shift, just to make it home safely. The lifestyle is not easy, but they do it every day.